Okay, this one's really tricky. So you work from home for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden your employer says, time to come back in, but you live really far away. What do you do? Well, I think that's a really good question. It's not a straightforward answer. Certainly this isn't legal advice, but generally speaking, employers do have a lot of leeway to ask you to come into the office, to make decisions that are best for the business. But I think there's a lot of things to consider. First of all, if you need an accommodation for health reasons, so you have some sort of disability and you get medical documentation to support the fact that you might need to work from home at least part-time, then the employer has to consider it. They don't have to give it to you completely, but they have to consider it or see if there's a way that they can accommodate your request. Generally, though, if you just live really far away, I think there's a few questions you need to ask, like when you were hired, did you live that far away and they knew about it? Is it in your contract that you can work from home? Employers have to follow the law. So if your contract says that you can work from home or that remote work is supported, well, then they have to follow that. However, if they have policies about work from home, and smart employers will have things that say, look, we have a right to change this at any time depending on our business needs and the things that we assess as being most important, but we will also make sure that we give you notice, because they also have to give you notice of these things. If, however, there's a very, very significant change to your employment that makes it impossible for you to continue working, and your employer was complacent to those things and there is no policy protecting them from making changes, you might have a case of constructive dismissal, which basically means it's like they fired you, but then that means that you can't then go along with it. Let's say they changed this in September last year and now it's January and you're only now kicking up a fuss about it. Probably not. Then the courts will say, well, you probably consented to that change. But be very careful about constructive dismissal. It requires you resigning, which means you lose any potential leverage against your employer. So best thing you can do is get legal advice if you're not sure. But employers do have a lot of leeway when it comes to ordering people back into the office.